Welcome, boys and girls, to the central mezzanine area of the Stinkbug Works, where we have the machine shop located. In front of you is a machine every serious RC boater should have. Not necessarily this exact machine, and I'll talk about that, but this machine. And I might recommend different sizes. This is a Harbor Freight Central Machinery 3-inch, and I think the swing, the distance from the center here to the bed is 3.5, and it's the short bed, 13 inches. Why did I choose this size lathe? Because most projects that a model boater would make can be made in something this big. Very seldom do you need to make something that big. I couldn't think why you would have to make something that big or this big in diameter. Well, this was a perfectly good lathe when I got it, but it wasn't very accurate and it wasn't very powerful. You couldn't take big cuts and you could never really get good precision. You'd clamp a piece up one time and you'd get a nice finish on it. You'd clamp it up again and it would be doing this thing. And so I've done a number of improvements on this. I've done upgrades. I put in a new brushless motor. I put in a new belt section. I put in new spindle bearings. I put in new spindle gears. They were plastic gears before, now they're metal. I put in lower gear ratio on the power feed. I put in stops. I put in extra clamps that I can clamp the compound slide and then just back it off, and then I have these gib adjusting screws so I can back off the clamp without messing my adjustment. I've also added oiler ports on all the moving parts. I've added oiler ports on the drive. I've upgraded the chuck. That was one of the biggest helps. The chuck that came with this thing was really sloppy and ugly, and it now works on the mini mill for rotary projects. What else have I done on it? I put some, chip aprons. I put a lock on the cross slide, so when you're doing cutoffs, you really got to lock the slide down because you don't want to just rely on the carriage itself. Let's see. Over here, I've upgraded the chuck on here. I've spent a lot of time on this tailstock getting it square, and it still goes out of square far too fast for my preferences. So even though I put a lot of time in, I polished the ways on here as well. So even though I put a lot of time and effort into this thing, it's still not 100%, but it's getting there. And were I to do it over again, I would first look at a well-used, and we could be talking from the 1920s for that matter, American-made lathe, like an old Craftsman, an Atlas, a South Bend, LeBlond, any of those. And I'd look at one with chucks in the range of 4 to 6 inches, just because this is still a small, lightweight machine, and I can't take really big cuts. You know, I still have to be kind of gentle with it, although, you know, I've got all the time in the world. So, oh yeah, I put a quick release tool post on it too. So there you go, boys and girls, a little something different. A tool I highly recommend, although not necessarily this one. If you're going to buy a lathe, let's be realistic. Don't go cheap, because you'll be doing what I did, spending time and money with upgrades to make it suitable. Start with one that's suitable from the beginning. Plan your budget at, seatbelts on, boys and girls, plan your budget at $1,000 to $1,500, and you should get, you know, tooling with it at that price. And also be careful. I was looking at these on eBay just today to get some pricing information. This same exact machine can be found for $500 and $1,200. So do your due diligence. Some guys out there charge reasonable prices. Some guys out there charge insane prices. Make sure you're dealing with somebody who's not insane. Until next time, boys and girls, jet out.